The couple across the hall fought day in and day out, their arguments often stretching past midnight. Their child, Amy, scavenged for food everywhere. Anyone who dared offer the child a meal would inevitably be confronted by the parents, subjected to their relentless scolding or even slander. One day, as I passed by the stairs, I found Amy huddled in a corner, avoiding my gaze. I asked, "Little one, hungry for some food?" She claimed not to be, but her stomach rumbled loudly. Tears welled up as she choked out, "Please, miss, don't mind me. My mom isn't a good person." I knelt down and looked at her. "Neither am I, little one. This apartment I rented was half the market price, all because my neighbors were two lunatics. The landlord had warned me. Just so you know, the unit across can be quite loud and troublesome." How troublesome could it be? Annoyed that they had to cut the rent by 50%. Who wouldn't be? I just said, "No problem," and signed the lease without hesitation. I've always been drawn to excitement. Once, out of sheer boredom, I burned down my own house. My father, furious, handed me a wad of cash and kicked me out. He said I didn't know what hardship was, so I decided to travel everywhere and experience a life of suffering. Upon moving in, I immediately heard shrill moans from the apartment opposite, both a man and a woman in harmony. I thought, "Is that all?" The sounds lasted over an hour. Then the couple started fighting, arguing, smashing things, crying, and yelling. After the destruction, the unpleasant noises resumed, repeating throughout the night. Got it. They're genuinely sick. The next morning, as I left my apartment, the opposite door opened. I was curious to see what kind of people those loud-voiced parents were. Out stepped a child, wearing a primary school backpack, scrawny with an oversized head. I was a bit surprised to find a child living there, but the surprise quickly faded. Life's full of all sorts of people. How could such crazed individuals care about their child? Their own emotions were paramount. Crazy if they wanted to be, in love if they chose, with no restraint. I was used to these lunatics now, so my mind was calm. Amy entered the elevator with me, constantly swallowing as she eyed the bag of steamed buns in my hand that I could ignore, but her stomach rumbled like thunder. I figured, after all that commotion last night, the couple probably couldn't wake up to cook for their child. So I blurted out, "Little one, are you hungry?" To my surprise, she reacted as if she had heard something terrifying, immediately retreating. Yet her stomach kept growling. I handed her the bag of buns and walked away swiftly. Well, honestly, I didn't care much about it. After moving into my new place, I bought a cooking robot, thinking it would free up my hand. Instead, it was a terrifying scam. One minute, it ordered me to chop this, the next to slice that. It couldn't even clean a pot properly. It felt like I'd bought a king or queen to teach Aimee how to work. I'd been battling it all morning. Utterly bored, I suddenly remembered the small Western-style cafe downstairs and thought I'd go get some pastries to cheer myself up. Just as I stepped out, the opposite door opened. This time, a woman emerged, looking around 27 or 28. Her appearance was decent enough, but she had dark circles under her eyes, an utterly exhausted look. She glared at me fiercely. I thought to myself, her inability to get along with neighbors isn't a new thing. She probably knows they disturbed me last night. So now she's trying to assert dominance. I smiled. What are you looking at? My mother. Seeing her bewildered expression, I burst out laughing. That evening, the neighbors had a new trick. It wasn't unfamiliar this time. They threw open their door, dragged Amy into the hallway, and began to beat her. I'll make you a beggar. I'll make you beg for food. I'll beat this useless trash to death. The child cried hysterically. I flinched, mostly wondering if the 2 buns from this morning had been discovered. Listening closely, I realized these 2 were targeting the woman who lived above me, the very same woman who owned the cafe downstairs. I'd met her today and found her quite charming. The man's insults were incredibly vulgar. Old hag, if you want a child, go have one. What's the idea of feeding other people's kids? Every few days, you bring a different man home. Who knows what diseases you've got? I told you not to eat random things. If you catch something, I'll throw you to the dogs. He continued to hit the child as he spoke. Amy sobbed. I won't do it again, Daddy. I yanked open my door and found the couple performing a coordinated act. The man was hitting the child, and the woman was filming it on her phone. They seemed slightly surprised to see me, but didn't pay me any mind. They continued to slap Amy. I told you, you useless piece of trash. I spoke up. I'm live streaming this. Do you 2 want to be famous? The man froze. My microphone is picking up your entire performance. My fans are asking if I'm haunted. Do you want to come in here and continue the show? Say hello to my fans, the man snarled. Shut off your damn live stream. Then he moved to rush into my apartment. I instinctively stepped back. To my surprise, Amy ran, clung to his leg. Daddy, I'm sorry. I won't pick up food anymore. Please don't fight. The woman glanced at my door lock, realizing it had a camera, and started to pull her husband away. Let's just go. The man, still fuming, turned and slapped his son. It's all your fault, you useless brat. Going around picking up trash makes me look bad. Then he turned and slapped his wife before dragging both her and the child inside. Amidst his rambling curses, I thought to myself, that child just saved its parent. If they had dared to break into my apartment in the middle of the night, I would have crippled them without any repercussion. Grace, the woman from the upstairs apartment, heard the commotion from across the hall and quickly rushed down. She ran so fast she lost a shoe. In her hand, she was still holding a badminton racket. I couldn't help but laugh. Are you serious? That thing's so flimsy it'll break after a few hits? Grace, racket in hand, walked down with a serious expression. She glanced at the securely locked door of the opposite apartment before turning to me and asking, Are you all right? I'm free, so I'll come in for a drink, shall I? Grace was the owner of a unit in this complex and had lived there for 3 years. She grimaced and told me, You should move out soon. Don't worry about the deposit and rent. I'm stuck here. My apartment and my shop are both tied to this place. I asked her about the psychotic neighbors. As we spoke, the unpleasant moaning sound started up again from across the hall. Grace spat out a mouthful of water and scratched her head in embarrassment. I was astonished. It's been less than 10 minutes since I came in. Didn't he just slap her? The boy must still be awake. Grace sighed. What can you do? Love addiction. I was even more taken aback. Has love addiction reached such a severe stage now? Grace said the neighbors had been like that for 3 years. Fighting, crying, cursing every day, then starting with those sounds again. When she first moved in, still young and spirited, she confronted them, with other neighbors joining her. The result was that the woman focused all her insults on Grace alone. You don't have a man yourself, so you can't empathize with others. If you can't stand it, go find a man to make your life exciting. I think you're just jealous of our deep love. To this day, Grace still remembered those words perfectly, her expression as if struck by lightning. And their child, 3 years ago, was only in 1st grade and already went to school and came home by itself. I was startled. Is it in 3rd grade now? Grace corrected. Currently 4th grade. The scrawny child with nothing but a large head. Its mother didn't work. All day she fought with its father, then spent the morning wallowing in self-pity. Too sad to even drink water. Could one expect her to get up and cook for her child? Lying around all day wasn't enough to distress. In the evening, the battles continued. I burst out laughing. What an eye-opener, Grace said. That's not all. Initially, the kind neighbors would let the child eat at their homes, so it could get by. But the woman probably thought people were gossiping behind her back, and she didn't like it. So she specifically chose an elderly neighbor from an upper floor where the boy often ate, and then mercilessly beat her child in front of that neighbor. Afterward, she even filmed it and posted the video in the group, writing, "Sorry everyone for not raising my child well. I've caused you trouble." Grace said, "Wasn't that intentional provocation?" The elderly neighbor was so angry that she argued with the woman, only to have the woman block her door and curse at her for over an hour. Hearing her story, I suddenly remembered that tonight. The neighbors opposite also had the husband hitting the child and the wife filming. Grace said even the police were useless. The elderly neighbor was so enraged, she almost had a heart attack. Grace even advised me, "The boy is truly pitiable, but you absolutely must not feed him anything." But after she said that, I remembered, "Didn't you feed him today too?" Grace looked embarrassed. "That was to warn you not to repeat my mistake." I thought for a moment, "Add me to the homeowners group." Grace said, "Those messages are such an eyesore." Why would you want to join? And eventually she added. That night, the neighbors opposite resumed their incessant, unpleasant noises. I hadn't originally intended to live stream, but the noise was so loud I couldn't sleep. Bored, I started a live stream. At first, no one watched. I learned by reach. Clicking the plus button wasn't enough, so I bought a huge amount. Basically, anything I could buy, I bought. The live stream gradually caught the attention of night owls. What is this? Why is the streamer so quiet? The background sound is so strange. Is it what I think it is? Streamer, are you still there? I was too engrossed in studying view-boosting strategies to respond to them. So they came up with all sorts of theories. Some said I was live streaming sleep induction. Others that I was streaming a husband fighting with his mistress. After much arguing, someone even sent me a rocket gift. Tell us, streamer, what exactly are you live streaming for? I thought to myself, what a bunch of perverts. I'm not short on money. After starting the live stream, I just went to sleep. The next morning, I was amused to discover they had written several fan fictions themselves. I was startled, thinking there really are a lot of idle people. After a moment of thought, I used a voice changer and paused the camera. See you tomorrow at the same time. Bye-bye. Then I ended the live stream amidst a flood of angry comments. I couldn't stand this terrible cooking robot. I packed it up and took it downstairs to Grace's cafe as a gift. Grace was ecstatic. It's the latest model. I sighed. It still needs upgrading. Just make me a plate of pasta with scallion oil sauce then. I quite liked her fusion of East and West. She was about to talk more about the robot. But then something else outside the window caught her eye. Amy was secretly rummaging through the trash can behind the building for food. Grace, feeling helpless, said, I used to carefully pack leftovers and leave them out for her, but her parents caught me, so I can't anymore. Amy found nothing, her face etched with disappointment. I thought she would leave, but she persisted, digging out a discarded lunchbox. She squatted by the trash can, preparing to eat. Grace exclaimed in alarm, Amy, you can't eat that. I thought, what a strange name. Amy, hearing the noise, flinched and ran like the wind, still clutching the lunchbox tightly. Grace stomped her foot in distress. Why is that child like this? I, standing nearby, calmly said, you don't understand. Children, this age can't tolerate hunger. She's at an age where she's growing fast and hungry all the time. That afternoon, Jade must have woken up and started her attack in the homeowners group. First, she posted the video of her husband hitting Amy last night. She wrote, sorry everyone, my child has caused trouble again. We've disciplined him. If you see the little one begging for food again, please let us know immediately. Someone couldn't hold back, commenting. Someone couldn't hold back, commenting again. Will this ever stop? Another user. I see this anonymous account hasn't changed its display name. Probably afraid to show their real face. She then wrote, Grace from upstairs. Everyone remember this. She's promiscuous. Probably caught a disease, and she runs a restaurant at the complex entrance. Be careful not to get food poisoning. To the anonymous user, you're going too far with that. I tagged her directly. Excuse me, your video includes me in it. She ignored me. I tagged her again. You're violating my privacy, neighbor. If you apologize to me now, we can consider this over. She flew into a rage. You're just a renter. What right do you have to butt in? What right do you have to speak up? I laughed. I thought the same thing. I guess you don't care much about privacy, do you? Then I sent the entire audio package from last night into the group. It's this noisy all day, every day. A few minutes later, she stormed over and pounded on my door. I stepped out and opened the door, smiling. Hello? Does your hand hurt? Her face was as black as ink. I said, My apartment has a doorbell. Next time, just ring it." The woman shrieked. "Ah, just you wait." I thought she'd pull some stunt, but to my surprise, she called the police. The police arrived. The building management was there, and she even called the homeowners association representatives. Then burst into tears. She accused me of violating her privacy while scrolling through her phone. She also hurled abuse at the association and management. "This complex is a mess because of these renters. Are you going to do anything about it?" I hid behind the police officer. "So what if I'm a renter? Do renters eat your food? Just because you bought a shabby apartment, you think you're better than everyone?" She jumped up and down. "Arrest her now. Give her a criminal record." I thought to myself, I already have a criminal record. But not for this. The officer sighed. "It's you again? Is it so hard to get along with your neighbors?" It turned out it wasn't the first time she had called the police. The woman immediately shrieked. "Are you blatantly biased towards her? Do you want me to file a complaint?" The officer retorted angrily. "Even if you file a complaint, it'll be baseless." "Why?" "Because I recorded it inside my own home. I didn't break into hers." She wailed and threw a tantrum. The management, wanting to shirk responsibility, suggested we go to the station to file a report. Throughout the entire interrogation, I cooperated fully, answering every question. In contrast, she continuously shrieked hysterically, vehemently citing legal articles she'd looked up online, claiming to understand the law, and demanding that I'd be prosecuted. In the end, I walked out of the police station looking refreshed, while she dragged her exhausted feet. Hoarse-voiced, she yelled at me, "Just you wait. You've got a criminal record now." Looking at the dark circles under her eyes, I felt pity. Up all night, then struggling like this all day. Must be tiring, huh? She froze, then snarled. "What's it to you?" I calmly replied, "Actually, your noise doesn't bother me. I have excellent noise-canceling headphones." Her eyes took on a strange look, as if to say, "Why are you telling me this? What does it have to do with me?" I bared my teeth in a smile. "But I quite enjoy listening to the commotion in your apartment. It's very stimulating." Her expression at that moment was indescribable. It was the face of someone utterly drained, mentally and physically, who had been suddenly provoked and immediately went mad. "Ah, you're truly..." She lunged, trying to tear my shirt. I shrieked and ran back into the police station. "Officer, save me!" We caused a commotion in the police station once again. This time, she received a severe warning, while I, being pragmatic, chose not to press charges. Because if I did, the police officers would have to do countless paperwork, take more statements, and listen to her justifications. Wasting public resources, wouldn't they? I can handle such small matters myself. Back home, I glanced at the clock. It was still early. The woman must have gone to sleep. When she returned home, I saw her stumbling like a drunk. But would I let her be? Do I look like a bodhisattva? On my way back, I bought a throwing axe. Too lazy to carry wood, I dragged a few chairs from my apartment into the hallway and smashed them to pieces. Oh, the feeling of an axe cleaving through a chair, shattering it completely. How satisfying. Emboldened, I chopped up 3 chairs in a row. Only then did the neighbor opposite finally peek out? She looked truly funny. How should I describe it? Severely sleep-deprived, her face gaunt from depression, utterly bloodless, her spirit seemingly on the verge of collapse. This morning, I saw the elderly resident from the 12th floor coming down the stairs, looking exactly the same. She yelled at me, "You damn neighbor!" Suddenly, her words caught in her throat. I felt that, upon seeing the gleaming blade of my axe, she suddenly sobered up. "Hello, is something wrong?" She stumbled back a few steps in fright, pointing at me. You're a killer!" I twirled the axe once and she took another step back. I said, "Don't be afraid. This axe is just a common household tool, not a controlled weapon." As I spoke, I lovingly stroked my new axe. Actually, an unsharpened one works even better. One hit and it shatters. Amazing, right? If you hit someone's bone with this, it'll break with just a single sound. The woman went mad, crying as she slammed her door shut. I finished chopping the remaining chair fragments, laughing loudly in the hallway. Late at night, I heard movement and knew the neighbor's husband was back. But they were unusually quiet. I waited until 11 p.m. Could they really be that weak? So scared, they were shaking. But then I remembered. They only ever dared to bully Grace, living alone upstairs. Or beat a minor. Or even when they went crazy. They only chose the old couple on the 12th floor to torment. Such people are truly boring. They only know how to bully the weak. I felt a bit bored. So I recalled seeing her ID registration information at the police station. I opened my computer and sifted through big data. I successfully logged into her social media accounts and shopping apps, and from there found her husband Mark and his company address. I really wanted to laugh. His name was indeed Mark, and he worked as a real estate agent. I continued to use the company information to extract employee data, not even needing any advanced techniques. Truly uninteresting. But just as I was casually browsing their accounts in my boredom, I discovered something unusual. A few years ago, his income was quite high, plus commissions, around 30,000 per month. But starting 2 years ago, his income sharply declined, with his monthly salary less than 10,000. Yet, his accounts still showed other income ranging from 5,000 to 30,000 per month. Untaxed income. Well, I'm not sleepy anymore. I was busy hacking Mark's accounts when my phone suddenly buzzed with a WeChat message from Grace. "Grace, it's so quiet across from your place tonight." I chuckled. "Grace, my upstairs neighbor said you chop things in the hallway." "My dear, you're a true hero." I chuckled again. "Grace, I called Amy over for dinner tonight." At first I was worried, but I hadn't heard them hitting the child yet. "Grace?" I asked Amy how she got caught. Guess what? Grace. She said her mom made her rinse her mouth yesterday, and out came leftover food. Grace, I think that woman has been suspicious for a long time, and she found me right away when she looked. Grace, hey, are you still there? What's that? An auto reply? I stared at the screen, my expression darkening slightly. I had discovered Mark's source of income. He was selling private photos and videos on a dark website. Among them, there was a hidden camera video of Grace. I examined it carefully. It wasn't an AI-generated fake. Mark had an entire folder of clearly priced photos and videos, all secretly filmed. I opened a few. The sources were quite varied, from private homes to public places and hotels. The reason I noticed Grace was because he was actively selling her content in a chat. Grace was actually 27, but thanks to her youthful face, he presented her to clients as an 18-year-old student, even including a few photos of her making desserts and mentioning her part-time job at the Western Cafe. Once the character image was established, he started bargaining with clients. I snapped back to reality. Grace was still messaging incessantly. Grace, want to eat my bancio tomorrow? It's delicious. Grace, I've made a new type of drink. Come taste it. Grace, are you asleep? Are you asleep? All right then. If you see this tomorrow, come eat my treat. Good night. I smiled, then hacked into her home camera and completely destroyed it. I kept thinking, unable to sleep, so I continued to hack into that dark website. It was amusing. This shoddy website thought it was sophisticated enough, but in reality, it was easily breached. Downloading user data would take some time, though. All my good equipment had been confiscated by my father, so I needed to upgrade this old computer first. Because hacking into websites or other people's computers is actually very easy. The hard part is not getting traced. The next day, I went to Grace's cafe for a meal, and while I was there, I discreetly asked if she had any dealings with the neighbors. Grace said that when she first moved in, she thought they were a kind couple. Mark seemed perfectly normal, even proactively helping her carry things into her apartment and install cabinets. At that time, Mark's wife, Jade, was also present, standing in the restroom for a very long time. I asked if he had asked if she lived alone. What? And yes. He even inquired about my family situation, heard that my relatives weren't nearby, and said to come to them for help if anything ever happened. I said, "How could you casually tell strangers that?" She sighed. "Yeah, now I understand." They had other intentions. I was a bit surprised, thinking she had realized something. It turned out she meant he just thought we were easy to bully. There was also the old lady upstairs, an elderly couple. What could I say? I could only tell her that she still didn't understand the wickedness of people's hearts. But then again, who would think like that normally? I quickly refocused and told her, "I have urgent work to finish these next few days, so please save a meal for me." She agreed. These past few days, I'd been engrossed in upgrading my computer and downloading the dark web member data. Grace brought all my meals. But the neighbors weren't idle either. They were busy spreading rumors that I was a provocative streamer and a prostitute. Later, it escalated to a story that I was a mistress kept by a rich man, beaten by his legal wife, which was why I moved here. The Homeowners Association representatives came to inquire. I was wearing noise-canceling headphones, so I didn't hear the knocking. Just then, The landlord called me. He asked, "Are you vacating the apartment? The deposit and rent can both be refunded." I found it strange and asked him what was wrong. He recounted the neighbor's fabrications, saying that many parents in the complex were afraid it would affect their children. Furthermore, he was very anxious, constantly advising me not to overthink things. After listening for a while, I suddenly understood. "Are you afraid I'll commit suicide in your apartment, uncle?" He sighed. "You know the destructive power of such baseless rumors." I burst out laughing. "Don't worry, uncle. I'm a freelancer. My social circle is simple. It won't get to that point." He quickly said, "Good, good. As long as you can withstand the pressure, I'll help you sort things out with the homeowners association and the management." My computer was upgraded. The hunting season was almost here. I stepped out of my room, took a deep breath of fresh air, and saw Mark across the way. I hadn't looked closely before, but now I saw he was even uglier than his ID photo. How should I describe it? He exuded an oily, greasy aura, his shifty eyes carrying a naturally rude demeanor. He pointed at me and cursed. I was surprised. He said, "Get out of our complex." I laughed and gave him the middle finger. He angrily strode directly towards me, seemingly intending to use his gender advantage to intimidate me. I stood my ground, not moving. To my surprise, he lost his nerve and didn't dare come closer, just blustering. "I've seen your type plenty. Women who move into rented places without knowing their place. I've got 100 ways to deal with you." Why? I wondered. "Are you only good at blustering? Why stand so far away? Come closer. I'm so eager." Can I beat him up as an appetizer? Perhaps I hadn't controlled my expression well enough. He took a few steps back. "Just you wait." As soon as he finished speaking, he scurried away. Oh, how disappointing. I guess I'll wait a little longer. Patience is key. That night, I took off my noise-canceling headphones and chatted online with Grace. Grace. Today I saw Amy, the big-headed child from across the hall, being bullied. Grace, half her head was shaved clean. "Anyone there?" Auntie said. "Poor thing." I thought to myself, a child like that is 100% going to be bullied. In 4th grade, but small, like a 1st grader, with an oddly large head, and still rummaging through trash cans. Grace, I shaved off the other half of her hair. I wonder if she'll get beaten when she goes home. Just then, the sound of arguing erupted from across the hall. "Grace." "Oh no, oh no," I said. "It's fine. They're not hitting the child. It's just their usual routine." "Grace, really?" "Of course it's real. I'm watching them live right now. They're such a loving couple." Oh. Mark installed a camera in their home to admire his beloved wife while he's at work. How convenient for me too, right? Actually, I'm not a voyeur, nor do I intend to live stream their private scene. That's illegal and easy to get caught. I just wanted to see if they'd noticed that their new neighbor was a bit off. Mark finally discovered that his side business had vanished. The dark website had been hacked. But he didn't think much of it. After all, dark websites having issues was normal. However, the folder on his computer had also disappeared. He suspected his wife, Jade, had deleted it. The couple began to argue fiercely. "Jade, so what if I deleted it?" All those things were already sold. Why were you keeping copies? To enjoy them yourself? Honestly, I'm so disappointed. What kind of logic is that? And as villains, how can you be so careless? You're both utterly useless. Mark slapped her. You just know how to be blindly jealous, lying around at home all day. Do you have any idea how hard I work to earn money? Jade shrieked. I'm at home, but I'm not doing nothing. If it weren't for me, how would you earn those few pennies? Then, the two began to fight, crying, screaming, and throwing things everywhere. They had argued a few days prior, but it wasn't as intense as this. Tonight's commotion filled the homeowners group with question marks. After fighting for a while, Jade couldn't take it anymore and tearfully clung to him. Mark, please don't do this anymore. I'm so scared. We'll definitely find another way. Definitely. So now, can't they stand do? Oh, definitely. Okay. Definitely. She said these words quite softly. I suddenly had an idea. She then said, Isn't that woman across from us that streamer trying to boost her image? She looks so easy. Let me go to her place. I thought, right, I'm a streamer. Delighted, I started live streaming again. The moment I turned it on, the familiar sounds started coming from across the hall. I was too lazy to look at the camera and just turned it off. As before, I started the live stream, placed my glowing rabbit plushie over the camera, and invited everyone to listen to the background sound. I was about to buy engagement when I suddenly noticed viewers swarming into the live stream room like bees to a hive. Damn it, Lily is finally online. Didn't you say, see you tomorrow? How many tomorrows have there been? Quick, tell me what's playing. I'm dying of impatience. Excuse me, seniors. I'm new here. What's that background noise? I continued working as usual, and when I was done, I put on my noise-canceling headphones and went to sleep. The next morning, I turned off the live stream and found that the viewership hadn't decreased, but actually increased. I said, goodbye. May we meet again by chance. I dared not promise tomorrow again, but the live stream room was still flooded with insults. Well, that's truly annoying. The next day, Jade knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw she had brought her son a new trick. I was a little expectant. I opened the door. Smiling, neighbor, what brings you here? Jade forced a smile and pushed her son forward. Amy, say hello. The big-headed child looked like it was about to cry. Hello. Hello, miss. Then it fell silent. Jade impatiently. I want to borrow yours. I thought to myself, how brazen, daring to use her child as a tool. But I still smiled brightly. Sure. Jade's face lit up. Thank you, thank you. I'm so sorry to bother you, neighbor. As she spoke, she eagerly rushed into my bathroom. Did she think everyone was stupid? Just then, Amy suddenly tugged at my shirt. Surprised, I looked down at her. With a pale face, she whispered, Miss, I'm sorry for my mom. My mom is going to do something bad. I was surprised. She was eager to cry, then truly burst out, saying, "Last night I heard something. I don't know what it was, but it definitely wasn't good." I snapped back to reality, stroked her shaved head, and nudged her towards the door. "Your mom's planning to install a camera. I know it. You go to Grace's cafe and eat. Tell her it's my treat. I'll pay later." After he left, I immediately locked the door and picked up the axe. I approached the bathroom, asking softly, "Neighbor, are you all right? Why are you taking so long?" Inside, I heard the sound of objects breaking. Jade replied with a trembling voice, "No, I'm fine." I laughed. Her psychological state was too weak. She even forgot she'd only been in there for 5 minutes, which theoretically wouldn't be suspicious at all. I laughed and asked, "Need any help?" She quickly refused. No need. The very next moment, I swung the axe and shattered the lock. A scream echoed, and Jade tumbled off the toilet. I walked over, axe in hand, grabbed her arm, and the camera fell out. Jade was silent. I pretended to be surprised. "What's this, neighbor?" She was so foolish she actually thought I didn't know, even letting out a sigh of relief. "Oh, this is my phone's beauty camera." I bared my teeth in a smile at her. Jade also trembled, forcing a strained smile. Then I slapped her. Jade flinched. I asked in a faint voice, "What was that?" Jade thrashed wildly, trying to fight me off. But it was useless. She discovered my strength was far greater than she imagined, and her face paled. My heart was filled with murderous intent. I had originally been looking for a way to lure her into my apartment. I hadn't expected her to walk right into her doom. You and your husband often called Grace upstairs a single woman. And the elderly couple on the 12th floor, old people easy to bully, didn't you? Living so long in a harmonious society, you thought you wouldn't encounter evil people like yourselves. I shoved the camera into her mouth and continued to slap her. "Neighbor, are you dizzy? Being angry all the time isn't good. See? Oh. Your vitality is weakened. You can't even take a few slaps." She was truly weak. After just over a dozen slaps, her eyes started to roll back. I thought for a moment, then picked up the axe and swung it gently. Jade, terrified, spat out the blood-stained camera and wailed, "No, no! I know I was wrong. My husband made me do it." I swung the axe down, and amidst her shriek, the blade cut through empty air. I smiled. "Don't worry, I don't kill people." "Killing is illegal." She stared at me. I said, "At least I won't use an axe to kill." The sound of chopping flesh is too loud. It would disturb the neighbors. I'm not as uncivilized as you two. Jade's mind shattered. She cried and pleaded with me. "Yes, please, I beg you, spare me. I won't dare to do it again from now on. Really, I won't bother you anymore. I have a child. If I die, Amy will lose her mother. Please spare me." I grabbed her hair and pulled. "I wouldn't kill you." My voice was gentle. "I'm trying to help you, actually. How could a good person like me kill Jade? She just has a love addiction. She just loves her husband too much. She just wants to earn a little money to live well with that trash husband. She's not asking for the moon. I'll help them achieve their wishes. Do you want to monitor your husband? Just like how he monitored you, tracking every single minute and second. From that day on, Jade was mostly absent from home during the day. She had gone mad. I set up WeChat synchronization and location messages from Mark's phone account to hers. She couldn't resist checking because she discovered Mark had 2 accounts. During work hours, he furiously flirted with female colleagues, female clients, and even street prostitutes. Sexual encounters were common. 9 out of 10 times he claimed to be working late were lies to her. Honestly, I was shocked too. Mark's energy was truly abundant. But wasn't this like stealing Jade's life? Mark was her life. Her brain could be picked out with tweezers. It only contained her husband. She couldn't even remember the child she bore for 10 months. She didn't care why I was so kind. Yeah. Tenjali. She didn't even sleep during the day anymore. Day after day, she went to Mark's workplace to stalk him. One day, I opened my door and saw Amy standing there with her backpack, a bewildered expression on her face. It seemed her mother wasn't home again. I called out, "Little one." She turned her head. I asked, "Hungry? Want to eat with me at Grace's cafe?" She hesitated, looking at the door, then back at me. Her stomach rumbled loudly again. After an internal struggle, she finally bowed her shaved head. I'm not hungry." Her stomach rumbled as she spoke. I smiled. "Come on. Your mom won't be back. My phone has your parents' location. Your mom has been staking out your dad's company for half the day. She's 100% causing trouble." She whispered, "Nis, please don't mind me. My mom isn't a good person. Anyone who feeds me gets fiercely cursed at by her." I told her, "I'm not a good person either." She was surprised. "Actually, I was planning to sell you." The strange thing was, this child's brain processed things very differently from others. She burst out laughing at my joke. I asked Grace to make Amy a bowl of noodle soup. Grace ran a Western restaurant, but she made whatever customers requested. The menu was just a formality. When I went to choose a few small freshly baked bread rolls for myself, she told me, "You were really bold," meaning I dared to sit and eat with a child. I replied, "Come on. Their parents have been too busy lately to take care of their child." Grace asked what I meant. Nark's having an affair. And lately, Jade follows him every day. Grace's eyes immediately. "Really? Really? Really?" I said. "More real than pearls. I hear them fighting every night. So how could I not know?" Grace was so excited she didn't even care about cooking anymore. For dinner, I ate small bread rolls with milk, for no particular reason other than a craving. Amy's noodles hadn't arrived yet, and she kept staring at me. I softly said, "Hey kid, do you stare at your classmates eating like that at school?" She immediately blushed. I slowly ate my bread, saying, "When you do that, people will have 2 reactions. One, they'll give you a bite, or 2, they'll punch you. Which one do you usually get?" Amy thought for a moment, her face falling. "The one where they hit me." She asked me what her expression looked like when she watched others eat. I told her, You asked the right person. I just secretly took a picture. She took the phone, looked, and honestly said, I'd want to hit that look too. I burst out laughing. No, don't do that. You can't be a bad kid and bully others. She looked at the photo, half understanding, half not. I didn't say anything more, only hoping she would understand that people can't live on others' pity forever, even a child. Grace brought the noodles, then hurried to a corner, furiously scrolling through her phone. She had a chat group named Victims of Apartment 1002. Besides residents from our building, there were also people from other buildings. Grace, have you heard? The neighbors having an affair. Owner 1. Damn it. Is his wife okay? Owner 2. Mark makes a racket every night like Godzilla invading Japan. Owner 3. I saw the wife limping today. I wonder if she's being abused. Grace. Definitely. Oh. Is. Definitely. I've seen it several times. Owner 3. Should we call the police? Owner 1. Are you crazy? Remember what happened last time we called the police? Owner 2. Let me remind you. Last time the husband hit the wife. An enthusiastic resident reported it with their real name. And the wife ended up screaming curses at their door, telling them to mind their own business. Owner 1. She even threatened to sue that man for slandering her husband, demanding compensation. Owner 3. Oh, let's just drop it. Don't bring up old stories. Just then, a new member appeared. Owner 4. My relative, who works at X real estate company, said a woman came and destroyed things terribly. After saying that, they posted a photo. The whole group recognized it was her. Grace. My goodness, that jade pixie she smashed must have been expensive, right? I zoomed in on the photo. Oh, it's good. About tens of millions. That whole day, the couple across the hall didn't come home. According to someone in the Victims of Apartment 1002 group, the couple had been taken to the police station. Amy, from beginning to end, didn't ask where her parents were. Owner number 3, the same elder who her mother had accused before, offered for her to sleep over for a night, and she was delighted. Just then, the noise-cancelling headphones I had ordered arrived. I quickly took them up to the elderly lady on the 12th floor as a gift. The headphones came at the perfect time. That night, the apartment across the hall was filled with earth-shattering screams because Mark had lost his job. As for me, I diligently live-streamed. Tonight, the screams from across the hall were truly harrowing. The woman had completely lost control, wailing to the point where even ghosts would be terrified. For some reason, my live stream viewership suddenly surged. At first, everyone guessed what was happening, gradually approaching the truth. Neighbors causing noise. But then it escalated. Viewer, are you crazy? What the hell is this? Your complex is haunted. Another, if it's really noise, give me the address. I'll go deal with them. As the viewership increased, people gradually recognized the couple. Oh my God, this is an employee from X real estate company downstairs from me. He just got fired today. Oh my God, I'm watching the live stream and it turns out to be this couple. As the discussion grew more frantic, Mark's name appeared in the comments. So it wasn't my fault. I was just live streaming in my own home. They exposed themselves. So, the man who regularly abuses his wife, making love night after night, and the wife who thought their love was deep, only to discover her husband's affair and destroy his career. They went home and continued to fight. Just then, the familiar sounds echoed from across the hall again. The comments went wild. Seriously crazy. Oh my God. Does anyone understand this scene? I knew it would be dramatic. But not this much. Is your complex full of living badass? For the next few days, the couple ran to the police station every day, probably not wanting to pay compensation. Although Mark normally put on a dignified front, in reality, he only had a few tens of millions in savings, all ill-gotten gains, and was also burdened with mortgage and car loan debts. The night before, Mark had beaten Jade half to death. Yet the next day, she diligently followed him to the police station. How interesting their child was. She wasn't frightened at all, even daring to secretly take money from home to eat at Grace's cafe. I asked her why there was so much cash at home. She said it was New Year's money from her grandparents. Her mother had been bedridden since Tet and hadn't had a chance to deposit it in the bank. Children, like her truly, are resilient creatures, like weeds. Just a few days of eating and sleeping well, and her whole body looked visibly brighter. One morning, as I left my apartment, I noticed the opposite door ajar. I gently pushed it open and saw Jade lying near the door, in a posture of trying to escape. I leaned down and looked at her. It seemed she was about to be beaten to death by Mark. "Help! Help me!" I squatted down and looked at her. "Why?" she struggled to say. "I want to report him." I smiled, looking at her. She cried and pleaded. I looked up behind her. Last night, Mark had discovered unpleasant things on her phone, which was why she had been brutally beaten, and her phone confiscated. She must have tried very hard to get out to the door, only to collapse again. I found it amusing. Do you think there are still many good people in this world? She froze. I lightly tapped her face. Someone like you, still having illusions about human kindness. The funniest thing in this world is that someone who doesn't care about an old man with heart disease upstairs still makes noise all night long, secretly films female neighbors to sell on dark websites, makes her son scavenge for food, yet thinks everyone else is a good person. She still thinks this world is full of love, that people will surely pity and save her. I chuckled, then slammed the door in her face. "Come on, try to open the door again." She had tried very hard to escape and open the door, only to find me standing right outside. Well, isn't this fun? I slammed the door in her face again. She cried and opened the door again. And again, it was me. I smiled. "I'm very free as you are." I closed the door again, but the time she took to open the door grew longer and longer, so I got bored and left. She still managed to crawl out, crawling into the elevator. Looking down from above, I saw that she could still walk when she exited the building. But after that, she couldn't continue and had to crawl away. How pathetic, not encountering a single helpful neighbor. But with her title as a famous resident, even if she did meet someone, would anyone help her? What a pity. I wanted to watch more. That trash, Mark, no longer bothered with Jade. He lost his job. His belongings were all thrown out, and he was sure to lose the lawsuit. He was extremely anxious, to an unprecedented degree. The entire complex was watching him make a fool of himself. I heard an old lady even intentionally stopped him to chat, inadvertently revealing that his colleague was a relative of an anonymous homeowner in the complex. Your story is all over the internet. Your name is out there too. He grew even more anxious. According to my investigation, this man was the greediest. Mark intended to grab one last sum before going to court. He contacted the dark website operator he had previously worked with, bribing him a little to get a few client groups. Wasn't that convenient for me? But previously, he had saved some images and videos on a USB drive. I replaced all of them with viruses. After Mark received the money and sent the folder, countless perverts across the country immediately had their screens go black. Their computer data was completely corrupted, a type that normal technicians couldn't recover. Now, Jade was hospitalized. She had a broken left arm, right leg, and hip. This was news I heard from Grace. Grace said the doctor immediately called the police, but she refused to say anything. I asked how she knew. Grace whispered, "You know what? Someone in our building live-streamed them bothering the neighbors, and it went viral. Now all their dirty laundry is being aired, and it seems someone in the hospital is also filming." I remained silent. She pulled out her phone. "I'm in that group too. Let me add you." I thought, this friend is really good at finding groups. She kept muttering, "I wonder who it is. Apartment 901 or 902? Or did someone special come to our building to live stream?" I found it strange. "Why don't you think it's me?" Grace said, "No way. If it were you, you would have told me already." She was full of confidence. Amy had extremely high survival skills. Now, she still went to school and came home by herself. She would go to Grace's house for dinner at the right time. Perhaps because she slept well every night, she looked much healthier than before. Today, I met her at the door, and as she went down the stairs, she was humming a song. On Saturday, at 2:30 p.m., after Jade had been hospitalized, Mark finally knocked on my door. Knock, 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 knocking. It felt like he was putting all his strength into his fists, pounding fiercely on the door. If it were a normal girl, she would probably have been scared to death. I leisurely walked over and opened the door for him. He glared at me as if he wanted to breathe fire, roaring, "You damn!" Then he charged straight in. I feigned a scream. "Ah, what are you doing? Don't come in." He must have lost his mind otherwise. How could he not notice I deliberately lowered my voice to avoid attracting neighbors' attention? He stormed into my apartment and slammed the door shut. "You filthy bitch. Jade told me everything. You're the one who gave her the phone." I retreated step by step. "Get out. Get out now. You're trespassing in a private home." Ah, there are people like that. The weaker their opponent, the more excited they get. He cursed and said he would teach me a lesson, chasing after me. I screamed and ran, throwing objects at him. One of them hit him squarely on the head, my glowing rabbit plushie. He looked at the object. His eyes bloodshot. "Damn you, I'll kill you today." He lunged grabbed my arm and dragged me into the room. "No cameras here, right?" I whispered something. Mark froze. I grabbed his arm and threw him over my shoulder. "Ah!" He looked at me, his face terrified. "You..." I smiled and pulled out a stun gun. For a woman living like me, preparing a stun gun to leave a little injury on an intruder is perfectly normal, isn't it?" He seemed unwilling to give up, still trying to brace himself to hit me, but I immediately zapped him. He fell silent. Actually, when in extreme pain, people can't make a sound. But he was a strong man, after all, right? He endured it much better than his wife, even gradually regaining consciousness after a moment. I panicked and told him I didn't mean to. I just accidentally jabbed you with the stun gun. Because he was trying to rape me. He looked at me in disbelief. I smiled again. "Do you think I'm a good actress? That's what I'll say later." In that moment, I saw despair on his face. "You're insane!" He endured the extreme pain, trying to crawl out. I took the throwing axe from the cabinet. As he crawled to the door, I stepped on his calf and used the axe to smash the bedside cabinet next to him, drowning out his scream. In that moment, his snot and tears flowed freely, and he writhed on the ground, begging, "Don't kill me. Please don't kill me." I held the axe in front of him and smiled. "Neighbor, I don't kill people, but I do have a criminal record for computer system sabotage." He looked at the axe in front of him, speechless. I chuckled and told him, "The photos on your computer? The photos on your computer. I deleted them. The dark website. I hacked it. I also hacked into your home camera, watching you and your wife live stream yourselves every day." I told him all this so he would realize he had been my prey for a long time. The idiot only grasped one point. He stammered, You posted pictures of me and my wife online." He seemed terrified of being exposed, yet he did the exact same thing to others. "Wouldn't do to not hit you once, would it?" Amidst his screams, I broke his shin bone. This part is the easiest to break. A hit here is truly disastrous. Mark was taken to the hospital, already crippled, beyond saving. His breaking into my home was clear as day, but the viruses spread from his IP address had already detonated first. Usually, perverts, even if tricked, wouldn't dare report to the police. But among his clients who bought materials, there were several important figures involved in many company secrets, and even a primary school teacher. This matter couldn't be covered up by simply claiming bad luck. My country's cybersecurity colleagues were as strong as ever, quickly tracing him through his email. His screaming and blaming me were useless. How to put it? I just installed those viruses on his computer. He himself distributed them, and he even collected money. Playing up to this point, I finally felt a little bit satisfied. Mark was crippled for life, facing a series of charges: destruction of public property, invasion of privacy, attempted rape during home invasion, fraud, domestic violence, child abuse, and computer system sabotage. Jade's pelvic fracture was worse than imagined, and she would also be crippled for life. The two of them were in colossal debt, their house already up for sale. As for the dark web clients, I had all the data saved. I was still thinking about what my next move would be. My older brother, Sean, found me. At that time, I was eating at Grace's cafe. Amy was there too. She was telling me that she would go live with her grandparents. In fact, her grandparents loved her very much, providing her father with an allowance every month. But Jade had the intention of holding the child captive to control the elderly. I heard she had a bad relationship with her mother-in-law, intentionally keeping Amy to abuse her. The more the old woman suffered, the more Jade gloated. The preferential custody rights of parents can sometimes be a helpless thing. I asked Amy if going to school in the countryside would be good. Before she could answer, my brother suddenly walked in, his naturally sharp eyes sweeping the room, immediately locating me. I also saw him, frowning slightly. Brother, he's a police officer. Perhaps he's here to arrest me. He walked up to me and sat down. Grace immediately blushed, her heart pounding. May I ask what you need? Sean calmly said, a glass of water, please. Thank you. Grace, blushing, scurried away. Amy also looked at him with admiring eyes. Sean asked me, why did you use PL? That's the virus that landed you a criminal record years ago. I know you could upgrade it any time or write a new one, but you used this particular one. I smiled. You're so good. Even if I used something else, you'd still find me. Sean furrowed his brow tightly. Lily, be serious for a moment. I thought to myself, serious about what? Actually, I knew he was very angry. My case would, at most, result in a fine. After all, I wasn't the one who intruded into a public computer. Of course, I intruded before, but they just didn't find out. And it caused no damage. Not enough to open a case. I deliberately used PL, so they would find me, but couldn't touch me, just to make them furious. Go ahead and investigate me. See what you can charge me with. Sean took a deep breath. I sat still, not moving. Grace stood beside us, clutching a glass of water, looking bewildered. Sean tiredly said, I'm taking you back for a statement, and then there's an interview, mainly to teach single women how to deal with intruders. At this point, his expression was a little contorted. Because I know your methods, others can't learn them. He said he knew it was probably very difficult for me to empathize with others. I had a doctor's diagnosis. He said I had psychological issues, lacked empathy, and was prone to developing an antisocial personality. From childhood to adulthood, they guarded against me like a thief. I bowed my head. Okay, I'll go with you, brother. I stood up, intending to leave. Before I left, I suddenly remembered something and turned back to Grace, who was still standing there, stunned. I am the National Martial Arts Champion, the Global Programming Competition Champion, and the Sleeping Rabbit plushie in the live stream. I thought I needed to add this information for her. Grace was dumbfounded. I looked at her expectantly. Grace lightly punched me. Aren't we friends? You're only telling me now. I smiled. It's the same now as it would have been then. Sean looked at me thoughtfully. I said, let's go. Amy suddenly yelled. Miss, I turned back. She gathered all her courage and said, before you asked me something, and I didn't answer. Going to school in the countryside is very good. I'm very happy, she continued. I'll become as capable as you. Hearing this, I unconsciously glanced at Sean's expression. But his face was calm, like someone who just helped me close a door. In the car, Sean looked back at Grace, who was standing at the cafe entrance. "She's a victim from the dark website," he noted. I replied, "Yeah, she still doesn't know." I said, "Why should she know? All her photos and videos have been destroyed, and her camera system is also ruined." "Is that so?" I looked at him suspiciously. "What's wrong?" he said. "I suddenly remembered you couldn't make friends when you were little." My face darkened. "Are you still staying here?" He smiled and asked, "Aren't you tired of it yet?" He nodded. "All right, go back to Dad's place. I'll talk to him for you." There was something unspoken that we both understood. I turned to look at him, frowning. "Actually, everyone says I lack empathy, and because of that, I face quite a few disadvantages. I started studying human nature early on, but this brother of mine, outwardly like a pine tree, appears straightforward and tough, yet inwardly, he's incredibly emotional and soft. Heaven knows what else he's imagining. My name is Lily, a child diagnosed from an early age with a lack of empathy, very likely to develop an antisocial personality. The smarter other people's children are, the happier their parents are. The smarter I am, the closer I get to high intellectual crime. I've truly suffered many disadvantages because of this, and have made mistakes. My father and brother always scolded me. That's why I shifted to studying human nature. This time, I avoided most troubles and wasn't even scolded. My brother went home very excited, whispering to Dad, "Lily made a friend. She's a girl who makes pastries." The father and son were so happy. That night they bought pastries to eat. Due to the incident in the residential complex, I received interviews from the media. All kinds of media. I met with everyone who came. My past was also dug up. In just one night, almost the entire world knew I had once burned down my house and had spent a year in prison for computer system sabotage. A truly excellent outcome. Someone said, "When you see a tall, slender, fair-skinned girl move into the apartment across from yours, don't hastily assume she's an easy-to-bully single woman. She can wield an axe, and she can also use a stun gun." Coupled with Mark's injuries being continuously exposed by anonymous netizens, the effect was truly magnificent. Father disapproved of me, flaunting the story of accidentally burning down the house everywhere. My imaginative brother advised him, "Lily does it to deter criminals." Father asked me if that was true. I replied, "If you want to think that, then there's nothing I can do." Sean again pulled him aside and whispered, "Don't blame her. She's shy." My brother's attitude annoyed me. I planned to find each of those old perverts one by one and deal with them. After the incident, I moved back to the residential complex. The complex returned to peace. Some people gossiped about me behind my back. Others acted friendly. To be honest, I didn't care much. Grace's food was delicious, and she had many chat groups for entertainment, so I wanted to live here. And the only thing that annoyed me was that my brother always found excuses to hover around my place. I knew he was there to supervise me, because he discovered that besides messing with computers, I also learned how to wield an axe, which made it impossible for me to act freely. Annoyingly, Grace was very welcoming to him. Even if he just ordered a glass of water, she'd let him sit for hours. Fey, shameless.